Alright, huddle up. Because today, as we sit round the campfire of conspiracy, we are looking into something phenomenal. Something that goes back, way back in time, to the land and time of the Sumerians. We are looking at a theory so wild, it caused two scientists to... Hello?
Hey up, I'm here to give you an hand.
Who?
What do you mean, who? I'm here to give you an hand.
I'm sorry, who are you?
Who I am doesn't matter. I'm here to give you a hand with this video.
Right. Your voice is a little weird.
Of course it's bloody weird.
Right, okay, right. Yeah, do you mind if I get on with this now?
Yeah, crack on. Just remember, I'll be here watching what you do.
Thank you. Yeah, I look forward to hearing from you again. Okay. Random. So where was we? So yeah, we're going to talk about two Russian scientists who put the whole scientific community on notice. And we're going to go into the wildest, wackiest stuff you've ever heard in your life. So get yourself ready. Get round the conspiracy campfire as we dive into Hollow Moon Theory. Let's take a trip back in time, shall we? We'll go back to the Zulus, the ancient Greeks, the Sumerians, where humanity actually believed, or scriptures tell us, that there was a time before the moon even existed. I know, it sounds nuts, but there are some ancient cultures who believed exactly that. They tell stories of a world covered in a mist, a time when our familiar moon was nowhere to be seen. And the wildest part, they suggest that the moon's arrival might have turned this misty world upside down and created what's known in many religions as the Great Flood. The first civilization we'll look at was the Zulu people of South Africa. Yes, those Zulus, like Rorke's Drift Zulus. According to their ancient legends, there once was a time when the earth had no moon. The sky was heavy with clouds, and the land was wrapped in a thick, watery mist. This mist wasn't just a bit of fog, no, it was dense, palpable, almost chewable. Well, maybe not chewable, you get the idea. The Zulu believed that the moon was brought here to Earth by two brothers, Wawene and Mpanku. I'm sorry if I didn't do that pronunciation justice, but it's the best you're going to get from a northern geezer. These two brothers were associated with the Chitauri, or lizard people as we know them. Marvel had a do at them, but you get the idea. They say the brothers rolled the moon, which was actually a hollowed out egg, across the sky and placed it in orbit around our planet. But when this enormous object suddenly appeared in the heavens, it caused massive disruptions. Think tidal waves, earthquakes, and yes, floods. The once peaceful, mist-covered Earth was now thrown into chaos. And if you think that was crazy, well, pack your bags and let's fly over to the wonderful world of Mesoamerica and visit the ancient civilization of the Maya. Their sacred text, the Popol Vuh, again, sorry for the pronunciation, look, you're just going to have to accept I'm not a linguist, describes the creation of the world in several stages. In the beginning, the world was a dark place filled with water. The skies were misty and the earth was covered in a thick vapour. According to some interpretations, this all changed with the appearance of the sun and the moon. These celestial bodies brought light into the world, breaking through the darkness and transforming the Earth's environment. It's a powerful image. The arrival of the moon along with the sun bringing order to chaos, shaping the world as we know it, and possibly even causing the catastrophic floods that we see across many religions. And now let's take our jet of mystery over to the wonderful world of ancient Greece, who also has its stories of a pre-moon civilization. The philosopher Anaxagoras, we'll go with that, who lived around 500 BC, proposed that there was a time when the Earth existed without a moon. While his writings don't go into detail about what the Earth was like back then, some later interpretations suggest that this era might have been a time of great upheaval, with the Earth covered in a mist or water. And let's not forget the many Greek myths that speak of a great flood, a deluge that some have connected to the gravitational pull of a newly arrived moon. And finally, let's look at some of the oldest texts in human history, the writings of the Sumerians and the Babylonians. These ancient civilizations described a time when the Earth was covered in primordial waters. It was a world dominated by water, with the sky and land indistinct and shrouded in a mist. While these texts don't mention the moon directly, some theorists believe that these stories could symbolize a time before the moon appeared. The moon's arrival, according to this line of thinking, might have helped clear these waters, leading to the environmental changes that made life on Earth as we know it today. I know, it's all a lot to take in. You're probably rolling your eyes going, bloody hell, on fire. But here is where it gets interesting, and I want you to bear with me here. These myths and legends are from civilizations that are separated by vast distances and often time. And all of them share some striking similarities. Think about it. From Africa to the Americas, from Europe to ancient Middle East, we find stories of a world once covered in mist or primordial vapour. And what happens next in these myths? The moon appears, poof, and everything changes. What if, just what if, these stories aren't just isolated myths? What if they are echoes of a shared human memory, a memory of a time when the Earth was without a moon, and when the arrival of this massive celestial body caused catastrophic changes? These might all be different cultural interpretations of the same global event. A time before the moon, you say? It's a fascinating thought. You can't say otherwise. It is intriguing, and you can't prove otherwise either. We can only go off what ancient civilizations say, even if it does seem a little bit wacky. But that's only the start of our journey. You see, now we're going to fast forward to the 1970s, where two Russian scientists turned the scientific community upside down.
Greetings, colleagues. We are Mikhail Vasin and Alexander Shcherbakov, and we present a hypothesis that challenges conventional beliefs about our moon. We propose that the moon is not a natural satellite, but an artificial structure of extraordinary complexity. Several anomalies caught our attention. The moon's nearly perfect circular orbit is unusual for a natural satellite. Its size and distance from Earth result in the precise covering of the sun during eclipses. A coincidence that raises questions about its origin. The uniform depth of lunar craters suggests a remarkably resilient surface, as if it were reinforced. This, combined with the moon's seismic activity, where it rang like a bell for hours after impact, supports the idea of a hollow interior or vast empty spaces beneath its crust. We hypothesize that the moon was constructed by an advanced, possibly extraterrestrial civilization, Its outer shell, potentially made of a tough, heat-resistant alloy, may protect an artificial interior used for storage or habitation. We understand this theory is unconventional, but the observed anomalies demand a re-evaluation of the moon's origins. We invite the scientific community to explore this hypothesis with an open mind, as the truth may be stranger than we have imagined.
Now, hang on, I know what you might be thinking. Hold on a second, what could possibly make them think the moon is hollow? Well, here's the thing. Vasin and Shcherbakov pointed to several oddities about the moon that they believe supported their theory. Let's break it down. First off, it's the moon's orbit. See, the moon's orbit is nearly a perfect circle, which is unusual for a natural satellite. Most moons have elliptical orbits, so why is ours so perfectly round? The Russian scientists argue that this might be because the moon was deliberately placed in this precise orbit by whoever built it. The moon's density is surprisingly low, much lower than Earth's. In fact, it's more similar to the density of some metals. Vasin and Shcherbakov suggested that this low density could indicate that the moon's interior is mostly empty, supporting their hollow moon hypothesis. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence they cited was from the Apollo missions. This is when the lunar module impacted the moon's surface, and NASA reported that the moon rang like a bell for hours. This strange phenomenon led Vasin and Shcherbakov to suggest that the moon's structure could be hollow, allowing sound waves to reverberate through its interior. Then there's the moon's craters themselves. The two scientists pointed out the uniform depth of the moon's craters. Unlike the craters on Earth, which vary in depth depending on the impact, the moon's craters seem to stop at a certain level, no matter how wide they are. Vasin and Shcherbakov believed this was because the moon's outer shell is reinforced, preventing impacts from penetrating too deeply. And finally, the two scientists noted the presence of strange minerals on the moon's surface, including some that are extremely rare on Earth or even non-existent. These materials, they argued, could be remnants of the construction process or materials brought from elsewhere in the universe. Now, as you can probably imagine and probably feeling, Vasin and Shcherbakov's theory was met with hefty skepticism. Most scientists dismiss their ideas as speculative at best, or even pseudoscience at worst. They argued that the evidence presented could be explained by natural processes. For example, the ringing effect could be due to the moon's unique geological structure, rather than it being hollow. The crater's uniform depth could be due to the moon's surface being made of a particularly hard material that resists deep impacts rather than a metal shell beneath the surface. And as for the unusual materials, well, critics suggest that they could have been from meteorites crashing into the moon or result of the moon's formation process, which differs from Earth's. But despite the vast majority of the scientific community considering Vasin and Shcherbakov nuttier than squirrel feces, the theory of hollow moon has persisted in popular culture and among conspiracy theorists. Their controversial work has inspired countless books, documentaries and discussions. Whether you see their theory as rhetoric from nutjobs or not, there's no denying that it adds another layer of mystery to our understanding of the moon. So enough of the 1970s, let's fast forward to today. What does modern science say about the moon? From seismic experiments and very strange anomalies that are seen through telescopes, there is plenty still going on today that keeps skeptics and believers intrigued. The first place we're going to go to is the moon's atmosphere. Yes, you probably didn't realise that the moon has an atmosphere, but it does. The moon's atmosphere, or exosphere if you want to sound fancy, is a super thin layer of gas. Think helium, neon, hydrogen, hanging around, just not doing much. Now here's where it gets interesting. This exosphere is a bit of a diva. It changes depending on the time of day and where you are on the moon. Some folks believe that this points directly to hollow moon theory. Now I am not saying this proves it. However, you can't argue that it does kind of make you think. Now, scientists of course have their own ideas. They reckon it's all about solar wind smacking into the moon's surface and knocking particles loose, which temporarily beefs up this exosphere. Makes sense, but here's the twist. If it's just solar wind, why don't we see the same thing on other planets and moons with similar conditions? The moon's exosphere is doing its own thing, and the usual explanation doesn't quite cover it. But that's the exosphere. What about something else? What about this one? The apparent mist that occasionally forms in Plato's crater. Now this one I love. Plato's crater mist. For decades, people have spotted this mysterious mist just chilling out in this one crater. It pops up, sticks around for a bit, and then poof, gone like a fart in the wind. Some say it could be gas seeping out from inside the moon, or maybe it's some process we haven't figured out yet. Pretty wild. But hold on, because the boffins have come up with an explanation. The explanation is that maybe it's just light playing tricks on us, or moisture in Earth's atmosphere causing some weird optical illusion. Sounds possible, sure, but here's the question. Why is this mist only seen in Plato's crater and not everywhere else on the moon? There's something special about that spot, and it's not easily explained away. And then there are the boulder tracks. Giant-ass boulders leaving fresh tracks in the dust like they've just rolled across it. For the experts, this one is a bit like waving a red flag at a bull. It gets them all hot under the collar, and it's never good to see, but you'll understand why. So, big-ass, massive, humongous boulders on the moon's surface have been caught with fresh boulder tracks, almost as if they've just been out for a casual roll with their loved one. But here's the kicker. The moon doesn't have wind, it doesn't have earthquakes or anything else that should be moving these rocks. So why are they moving? Scientists suggest that tiny meteor impacts or maybe even temperature changes could be nudging these boulders along. Alright, we'll go with that. But here's my question. Why don't we see these tracks all over the place? And why do some of them look like they've just happened yesterday? I'm not saying the moon's aliens are going outside for a game of footy, but something odd is definitely going on up there. So where does this leave us? Well, the straight fact is, the more that we investigate into the moon, the more it becomes a mystery to us. Every discovery seems to answer one question, but bring up a dozen more. And while many of these findings do produce logical explanations, there's just that nagging feeling in the back of my mind and many others that we seem to be missing something. But anyway, that's that bit. Now I want to talk about... I could end the video here, but it would be a bit unfair because there's some really fun stuff to talk about. The wildest theories out there. Now this is where Hollow Moon gets into a bit of sci-fi, to be fair. But we can't really talk about Hollow Moon theory without going into this. It would be a little unfair. So next up, I'm going to present to you the crazy stuff. Alright, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right. Let's kick off with one of the most jaw-dropping theories out there. The moon isn't just hollow, it's a gigantic alien spaceship. Yep, you didn't mishear me. This theory suggests that the moon was constructed by advanced extraterrestrial aliens and then placed in orbit around Earth. Some even believe it's been there for millions of years, watching over humanity like a great big cosmic nanny. But speaking about the moon not as being a barren old rock, their next theory is that the moon isn't just a spaceship, it's a surveillance station. According to this idea, the moon was placed in orbit by aliens or an ancient civilization to monitor and observe humanity. Think of it as a giant cosmic CCTV camera, keeping tabs on everything we do. This theory gained traction with the rise of the ancient aliens craze, where people started looking at historical and here we go again. Archaeological mysteries through the lens of extraterrestrial intervention. Proponents point to the moon's perfect size and distance from the Earth, which allows for precise surveillance. They also claim that the moon's position is too convenient to be a coincidence. It's like it was put there on purpose. You're starting to get a bit of a theme here, aren't we? But it gets a little weirder. Some believe that the dark side of the moon... Oh, what an album that was. If you're young enough not to know what that album is, ask somebody. It's amazing. The part we never see is actually home to alien bases or advanced technology designed to keep us under surveillance. This idea was even popularised by former NASA contractor and conspiracy theorist John Lear, the son of the geezer who made Learjets. In recent years, the internet has become a breeding ground for all sorts of moon-related theories, some more outlandish than others. From claims that the moon is a hologram, to the idea that it's actually a giant egg waiting to hatch. I kid you not. The moon seems to inspire endless speculation. Some even suggest that the recent interest in returning to the moon by NASA and SpaceX and other space agencies is part of a secret plan to uncover ancient alien technology hidden beneath the lunar surface. Of course, most of these theories are more fiction than fact. Especially the one where it's a... Hang on, let me see if I get this right. It's a thought control station made by lizard people who feed off negative energy, and that's why we're always warring, because they set us against each other so they can feed off our negative energy. I'm not joking, Google it, it'll blow your mind. The moon is a symbol of mystery, possibility and the unknown, a blank canvas onto which we project our deepest fears and wildest dreams. So folks, what have we learned today? Well, we've learned that from Soviet scientists to ancient civilizations to even seismic experiments, the moon is far more than just our rocky little cousin. It's a source of endless mystery and speculation, and I love that about the moon. I love that about the human race, to be fair, how we can take something ordinary and make it fantastical. It literally is a mirror reflecting our hopes, dreams, fears, aspirations, and all the questions we have about the universe, all floating in one little bright ball that lights up our night sky. But enough from me. What do you think? As part of the Huddle, what do you think about hollow moon theory? Do you believe any of it? Do you think it's all nonsense? Do you have any other wacky theories? Have you heard some wacky theories that I've not mentioned? Get into the comment below and let's have the discussion. This is the discussion part of it and I love this bit. I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who watched my last video on the Mandela effect. If you've not seen that already, it's going to be linked up somewhere up here. I never get it right, so if I do this, it all sort of makes sense. And I want to say a massive thank you for all the support that all my friends and loved ones have given me to help me do this. It's a big confidence thing for me and I'm loving it. So until next time, keep believing, keep questioning, and always get here to Huddle Up and like and subscribe, because if you don't, you're going to make me sad. See you next time. Bye bye.